What's up, it's Phil from Football Exposed, and in today's quick episode we're going to dive into the topic of should you be taking advice from drug-free lifters who have bad genetics? Because oftentimes you're going to hear a lot of people neglecting these kinds of people and instead turning to the guys who have really good genetics, who are on tons of drugs, and they're basically going to take their advice from them, which in my opinion is very hypocritical because the guys listening aren't on drugs and they don't even have good genetics to begin with. Yet they're taking advice from these guys. Their drug bills are like 10K a year plus, and they could pretty much do anything for X body part, even drug free, and it's going to get big. So in my opinion, these people still may have some very solid points, but I personally believe that for the most part, if you have a very lagging muscle group and you're drug free, you should be listening to people who are drug free, who have the same lagging muscle group and who actually brought it up to a very significant degree. Okay, so if you were to look into the bodybuilding world of people who had really good back genetics, from the get-go you'd see guys like Ronnie Coleman. If we're talking about good delt genetics, guys like Paul Dillette, arguably one of the widest humans to walk the earth. But me personally, I'm not going to take my back and my shoulder advice from these two guys, at least not for the most part. I might get some things here and there, but I'm going to go to the bodybuilders who have really bad genetics for these two departments, and I'm basically going to learn from them. And a perfect example of this would be John Meadows. John Meadows had a terrible back and terrible shoulders, and he actually had to build these two areas from the ground up. That's why he invented stuff like the Meadows row. That's why he invented the rear delt swing. And John Meadows is hands down my favorite bodybuilder, at least one of my favorite bodybuilders of all time. Not necessarily physique wise, but as far as curiosity and how innovative he was and how much drive he had and how much he was willing to just learn new things and just bring up certain muscle groups, even if it took unconventional methods, he's hands down up there. So in my opinion, these are the kinds of guys who you have to be looking at if you really want to bring up lagging muscle groups. You look at guys who already had lagging muscle groups to begin with and they turn it into their strong points. So John Meadows, he didn't have the best back, but now it's pretty much one of his strongest points in his physique. Okay, so stepping away from the bodybuilders for a second, if you were to look at my physique, a lot of people would say that my upper back, lats, delts, traps, and glutes are hands down my best body parts. But there's still others who are going to say, Phil, your arms look like garbage, and which is actually true. My upper arm, which is my biceps and my triceps, they're definitely not where they should be, and they actually do take away from my physique, if you will. If you look at me from the back, you see the big frame, but kind of see like these sticks hanging out, and it's not a good look. And it's not optimal for looking big. But keep in mind that I am drug free. I don't have the best muscle genetics or proportions for having big upper arms, but I'm not going to let that stop me from getting the results that I want. So if I have 16.5 now, and let's say eventually I pack on 2 inches and reach 18.5 at the same body fat percentage, and you guys knew the progression I had to go through and you knew the story, you have to congratulate me. You have to respect that. And you're most likely going to learn a lot more from me because I had it hard to develop these certain regions of my body, as opposed to the person who just took the easy way out by hopping on drugs, or the person who just had good genetics to begin with, or even worse, the person who just had really good genetics and just hopped on drugs. Okay, so a perfect example of what I'm talking about would be last summer when I was extremely obsessed with form training. I just wanted to get some massive forms. I was reading Naturally Enhanced, and it really inspired me to really develop this certain muscle group. So I was doing whatever it took without drugs in order to reach a certain goal, and I was basically doing Q&As, doing a lot of interviews with some of the top arm wrestlers in the world, and I came across some guy called Natties. If you don't already know, he's around below 175, but he had an 18-inch form, just one form, and it was absolutely massive. So I thought, okay, if I do a Q&A with this guy, maybe I'll get some tips on how to develop a big form just like him. So we were talking, I'll put the link in the description if you want, but I thought he was going to give me some amazing tips on how to really develop forms. He told me just do hammer curls and pull-ups. It's pretty much all he told me. So I tried it, it did fuck off my forms. It did some stuff for my lats because they took over, but for the most part my forms didn't get any growth stimulus from hammer curls and pull-ups. And this is a perfect example because Mateusz Schlitty was born with a big form to begin with. He could do anything, he would already have a big form. So if you take advice from guys like that, you're not necessarily going to get the best results over the person who had really lagging forms and really brought them up. Yeah, so there you guys have it. Just a very quick video on if you should be listening to lifters who are drug-free with bad genetics. In my opinion, yes, you should, but this only applies if the person actually made a significant amount of progress. So if you take a guy, you know, who had 14-inch arms, drug-free, he had bad proportions, he had bad muscle genetics in that given area, and then he eventually brought it up to 18s, drug-free without getting fat. Of course I'm going to listen to somebody like that, as opposed to a guy who just, you know, pinned himself all day long and just took the easy way out. Now keep in mind that I also do take a lot of advice from people who have very good genetics, and a perfect example of this would be P. Rubish. You can look at a guy like P. Rubish, he has good deadlifting genetics, good deadlifting mechanics, but he still offers some very solid advice on deadlifting form, technique, and all that good stuff. So let me know what you guys think about this video. Let me know if you learned anything. Do you guys take advice from lifters who have bad genetics, who are drug-free, or do you just listen to guys who are on drugs who have good genetics? With that, I'll see you guys in the next video.